Hey guys, Dan here, welcome back to another video and another reaction. And today, as I promised, after I myself will finish the Resident Evil, the Silent Hill 2 remake, I'm here to react to the full story of Silent Hill 2. This is a video that was made by Netty the Noodle. So Netty, I hope that you don't mind if I'm doing this on a live stream. I hope you don't mind the reaction channels. But after I finished Silent Hill 2 remake, I promised myself that I needed to watch a video that explained the full story, because the story can be a bit confusing, especially for a first time like a player like me. So yeah, if you have any problems against these channels, I don't mind removing the live stream as well as the video. So once more, thank everyone for coming. I hope that you guys are in good shape. I mean, we're gamers, we know how that goes. But I hope that you guys are doing good, and without any more further ado, let's go. Click.
I never knew much about Silent Hill until playing
I
through
hope
the
you
remake
guys are in
over this
good
past
shape.
week, and I can confidently say that the reviews don't even
I'm such
scratch
an
the
idiot.
surface of why it creates such an incredible atmosphere. Silent Hill 2 made me think about horror in an entirely different way, and I feel
dude,
both
that scene where
terrified
Pyramid
and
had to
in
appear for the
complete
first
awe at
time in the
fact
hallway
my
like that,
generation, the
it
bunch
really
of
scared
brain-rotted
me.
gremlins that we are, have had it pushed into our hands as consumers. This video is made for two kinds of people. First, the naive ones who, like me, don't know much about the Silent Hill franchise, and second, the hardened veterans who hold this franchise to be something so important to them as both a nostalgic and simply beautiful work of art. Silent Hill 2 gained a reputation of being especially sad compared to a lot of the stories across the other games, and let me tell you, that could not be any more accurate. This is a depressing story.
I was about to say
if you're
that
ready for a
Silent Hill
rollercoaster of
2 is
emotions,
very,
then I
very
invite you to come
depressing.
along with me and immerse yourself into a town. But not just any town. A town that draws in the most vulnerable. A town that doesn't let you forget.
A town that has a
town
hill and that is
becomes your
silent too.
nightmare. Welcome
Also, I hate the
to
nurses.
Silent Hill.
To be completely honest, like the end reveal for the story really
It is critical
broke me
we talk a little
in
bit
many
about
senses.
the backstory of Silent Hill as a town and
It was
well,
a very
why
big
it's
surprise.
so creepy, since the background knowledge will help you understand how you fit into all this in the actual remake. So let's get into it. Long ago, before major colonization from Europe, we zoom into what would later become Maine in America. Toluca Lake
we actually got a
specifically used to
state
be
called
inhabited by
Maine?
Native Americans. These natives called the land the place of the silent spirits, and it not only had spirits of the natives' relatives, but spirits that they believed had inhabited the trees, rocks, and water around them, meaning this area may very well have been a resting ground for any spirits, with the natives just having settled there at that point in
Okay,
time.
we're already
And
starting
speaking of
strong. I
settlers,
was not
after
imagining that
European
we would get
colonizers
some like a
arrived in the
Native
area,
American
an early
like
version of Silent Hill was built,
mythology into
establishing a
this.
settlement. The Native Americans were forced out of their lands in the process, and as such, what Silent Hill would become is a bleak reminder of what happened to many Native American peoples in the earlier days of North America. During this time, before the town was coined Silent Hill, a woman named Jennifer Carroll would come to be an important piece to the puzzle. She was basically a saint to an institution, or really a cult, which was known as the Order. Carroll was executed due to political opposition, likely meaning the witch trials, since this was in the 17th century. It being something to do with the witch trials, or at least religious reasons, is further evident by her memorial found in Rosewater Park, containing a plaque which says, "Victim of persecution by the Christians. Jennifer Carroll lived with pride and honor. What happened here shall never be forgotten." But why is this important?
Kind of crazy to imagine
after
like
her
how
death,
many
at the start of
religions
the
just rose to
1700s or
power
18th
and
century,
then
a plague ravaged the town, killing
like
off
they
most
were
of the residents,
overthrown in
and the
many
ones that
senses,
didn't
you know?
die left
Just
due
like
to
the
the
Christians,
outbreak.
they were an
Because of
oppressed
this,
people in the
town
past,
actually
but
lost
now
its
it's like one of
original
the main
name. In the
religions of
19th
the world.
century, a penal colony, a colony of prisoners, was formed near Toluca Lake, mostly from people who believed in manifest destiny, and they were the ones who at last named the town Silent Hill. During this time, they established a prison and a hospital. But oh boy, Silent Hill is an unlucky place to be, because a second epidemic started to surge through the town. They survived this though, and businesses like the Gillespie Coal and Iron Company established the Devil's Pit mine in 1816, and in the 1850s, the Wilts coal mine opened, which caused the town to be booming in its economy.
Wait,
there's other events that happened.
did they have like a mining level into the original Silent Hill game? I didn't imagine that. I didn't even remember that was a mine there.
Prison to house prisoners of the opposition during the Civil War. Though with the conclusion of the battle, it turned into a correctional facility. All seemed well and good, aside from, what just happened with the Civil War, until people started to go missing again in the quaint little town of Silent Hill in 1890. In the early 1900s, or 20th century, the Toluca prison closed down for unknown reasons, and the Silent Hill Historical Society took its place, which is kind of like a museum. With a non-functional prison,
so that's
and
why
mines
like
running
there's
dry
a
and
underground
consequently
prison.
closing,
Okay.
the town changed to more of a tourist site to gain revenue. Avenue. Not long after, in 1911, a local legend started to
and
spread
these are
that
the
miners
mines,
discovered
okay.
mysterious symbols within the mines, with speculation forming that it was witchcraft or from the occult. After this, the Gillespie Coal and Iron Company suspended any more mining in the cave due to reports of mysterious creatures being seen in it.
Those
These were
like,
likely the early forms of the entities we see in the Silent Hill games. Jumping
Yeah.
to the latter half of the 20th century,
I remember
a girl
like
named
seeing the
Alessa Gillespie
paintings
was born,
like
and
about
she had
those
a
creatures being
strong
impaled.
connection to
It
the
was
paranormal.
quite
We're not going to
disturbing.
cover her entire story because for Silent Hill 2, it's kind of irrelevant due to the game being mostly an isolated storyline. But we can cover her later if Konami ever does decide to do a Silent Hill 1 remake. Getting back to it, it was around this time
I also
that
heard that Silent
started to gain its
Hill
trademark
3 is in
curse
a
of
mall,
attracting
right?
sinful people towards it. Sinful people like a certain main character that you play as in this here remake. So without further ado,
For so
let's
many
talk about
times I
James.
just got James mixed up with Leon from Resident Evil.
It's
Was it
around
just
the
me?
1980s. This is James Sunderland, a regular everyday Joe office worker, depression included. Oh, and he's the protagonist of Silent Hill 2. The game begins with James as he's washing his hands in an old rundown rest stop. Leaving the small building, his car can be seen parked right on the outskirts of the eerie
Honestly,
town
it's a good
itself,
car.
overlooking the Toluca Lake. James
Just
is
needs a
searching
paint
for
job,
his
huh?
wife, Mary, who at this point in time he believes to have been dead for 3 years from an illness. I say he believes because not all is as it seems. James is in a delusional state of mind, which over the course of the game and his journey into Silent Hill, he'll come to interpret in one of a couple different ways depending ultimately on how you finish the game and which ending you get. But let's not get ahead of
For me,
ourselves.
it's surprising
James
that
needs to
there are
find
actually like
Mary, and
multiple
while he
endings.
believes
I
she's been
cannot
dead
imagine
for 3
myself playing the
years,
game again and
Silent
getting a
Hill
different
is
one.
calling to him and his desperation to reunite with her, believing this town could do just that, either in life or in death. From the get-go, you don't know much about James other than through the subtext of the letter that Mary's voice can be heard reading in the beginning of the game, explaining
Oh
how
yeah,
her
the
and
way
James
that
felt
the
sentimental
actress
about
that
Silent
plays
Hill being
Mary
a place
just
they had
reads the
visited
letter
during their best days,
is actually
before
so
she had gotten
chilling,
so
you
sick.
know,
He had
when you
promised
think
he'd take
about
her
it.
back one day, but never did.
It's a
And
very good
strangely, she says in
performance.
the letter that now she's in Silent Hill, alone, waiting. This is at least James's perception of the letter, and so, with some hesitation, he ultimately begins his hike down into the eerie, quiet woods, following a trail that splits off from the main road. As James walks down that trail,
Dude.
you start to feel the
I
unsettling
remember
weight of
when
your
we
decision.
first played it, and
Holy
we had this like
that?
whole area in the forest
Okay,
to
that was
walk to
not
Silent Hill.
water.
As you should
I
well
just
know by
remember,
now,
like,
you're
all
not
the
approaching a
sensations
normal
that,
town. Before you know it,
Just seeing this like surrounding part
the
gave
further
me,
you
you know,
walk towards the
because I've been
inevitable,
to
the
places
more
there are
fog
like
really
Silent Hill,
starts to
like when
surround
it comes to
you.
the
The fog is coming,
environment,
the fog is
the
coming.
trees,
The fog
the
is
air,
coming.
the
Hello,
fog.
I am Mr.
Oh, hi,
Beast.
Mr. Beast.
The fog is coming.
And
Eventually, you reach a strange well with what looks like a red square, or perhaps
Alright.
a letter.
And
lying
it was,
inside
like,
This
so
acts as your
welcoming
save point.
in a
And
weird
while
manner,
its
you
lore
know?
significance is not clear, it's almost
felt
as
like
if it
home.
is symbolic of the letter being the thing that allows James to push on, to remind him of what he's really here
wait,
for.
wait,
Reaching a
wait. I never thought about this. It's true. Oh, it's true. The red like letters that or papers that allow us to save is the representation that we have the letter from Mary that makes us push on to not give up. Oh my god, I never thought about it. I really never saw it like this. Okay. Okay, you're doing a great job, Noodle. You're doing a
Cemetery,
great job
a
so
lovely
far.
place to be in a horror setting. The irony is that this is actually one of the most peaceful places you'll ever be in this game. It's here that you meet one of the few fellow reoccurring travelers to the town, Angela.
Excuse me.
She's a little anxious after you gave her a Freddy Fazbear jump scare, but ultimately she has a short conversation with James and explains that it's probably
I
best
wonder if
to
it's
avoid
possible
the
to
town
save,
altogether
her
due to
or
something being not quite
Eddie, I
right.
think he's the
And when
other guy,
James says he's
right?
looking for
Eddie?
someone, Angela says that she is too. She's looking for her mom. With the connection established of having similar goals, the two ultimately split off on their own paths, both feeling like they need to go it alone. To the nene.
That's like the most
Dude, they
feminine
still
dog
feel.
ever.
You head through and out
I
of
still,
the
like, feel so
cemetery, reaching
disappointed
a
at
long
James
dirt
that,
road leading directly
He
to
finds
the
a random
town.
girl, offers to
Dude,
like
the rocks from
walk
Ark.
around
From Ark
together.
Survival Evolved.
He finds another girl,
Also,
starts
fun
walking
fact,
around
there's
with
a
her.
jigsaw you can
He
find
finds a
this
fat
early in the
guy
game
that
along
seems
the path
distressed
when
and
you're in New
offers
Game
to
Plus mode.
go around with him for protection.
Wait,
And
oh,
he
a
says
chainsaw.
no.
Reaching a locked door,
Wait.
you're forced to look around for a
Wait,
way
no,
open,
wait.
and
There
when
was actually a
scavenging, you find
chainsaw
key
for us
do
to
just
find?
that. The further you move forward,
remember
the
that.
further you approach the point of no
Oh, did they
return.
really
Though
miss
if we're
a
being
goddamn
honest, that
chainsaw
ship
for
sailed
free?
The moment you entered the forest. You eventually find a map of the east side of Southvale, helping discern your bearings a little bit in the never-ending fog. And speaking of which, you're certainly not alone in it.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I like his fucking eyebrows. Like, the fuck did I just see?
Wait, you've got a nice ass. Wait, hold on. Wait, come back. Eventually, you're confronted with the creature, and I want you to pay attention to its appearance because the creatures in Silent Hill are a manifestation of the traumas, the regrets, and the sins of those that it torments.
Exactly how I felt like fighting with those creatures. The adrenaline, the annoyance, the anger, and just continually stomping them. Exactly. These guys have played the Silent Hill 2 to the maximum of their capabilities,
Okay,
just like
she's
I
dead now.
did. Beautiful.
Or it, or whatever.
Beautiful. One more.
You continue to make your way through the
Exactly.
town, finding clues and key items, all the while with James having a rather delusional, irresponsible reaction to it all. He doesn't seem to be as afraid as you'd almost expect, but this kind of isn't surprising considering he's probably been through a lot in his life, and the town has likely been having an effect on his mind.
Also,
ever
just
since
going
he
around
arrived.
and
All that
breaking
matters to
every
him is
single
finding Mary, and he
window.
will crush as many of these monsters
Spot
as
on.
he must under his boot or by the force of his nailed plank if it means reaching that goal. Along the way, you find a lovely, totally inconspicuous hole in the wall, and
There
do
will be
what
a
any
few of those
reasonable
holes.
person would do in this situation, promptly f***ing around and finding it.
Exactly.
I'm gonna put my hand in the hole.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm gonna fist it.
After I edited the videos,
Number two. This whole
I
James
always,
putting his fists in weird places
I always
is
like
gonna be
did like a
recurring thing,
montage
along with
of
other
it.
reckless activities such as jumping into
With, to be
bottomless holes,
continued.
but that's for later. Eventually, James triggers a whole lot of creepy thigh monsters. And makes a
Oh,
mad
that's like
dash
the
for an
storm,
apartment
right?
complex, locking himself inside. Exploring the rundown building, you eventually find a flashlight.
Honestly, they're quite like resumed the story.
You know, I like
a very
when
good
I
manner.
couldn't see things. Then you meet this little gremlin.
This would be
girl
already
named
what
Laura.
maybe 2 hours for me to get to the abandoned hotel.
Ow. And not long after, you come face to face, albeit on either ends of a wall of bars, with this entity known as Pyramid Head.
This
The symbolism
really
of
gave
the
me chills the
creature is
first time that I
integral to
saw him.
James's character, and all you really need to know is that it originated in Silent Hill 2 and doesn't really belong in other Silent Hill games because fundamentally it is a creature unique to James's subjective experience, regrets, and self-hatred. After making your way through most of the
Really?
apartment
Doesn't he
complex,
appear
you
in,
find a
like,
body
other
in the
Silent
footage
Hill
and
games?
what
I thought it
sounds
was, like,
someone
on
having
every
a
single
really bad
game.
hangover nearby.
Hey, who's there?
It wasn't me. I didn't do it.
the fuck? This is Eddie, and he's
Eddie,
not having
I was
a good time.
right,
Just
too.
like James and Angela, he seems to be another victim that was drawn to the town for one reason or another, attached to some kind of traumatic guilt. While Angela's will be revealed in time, Eddie's seems to immediately have something to do with being accused of a horrible crime, rather than the crime itself. But we'll get more into Eddie's story later on. Eventually, after solving a
I
puzzle,
still
you
like
get to
feel
room
so much
201,
regret
which,
and anger
unbeknownst
against
to James
James
at this point,
because he
marks
didn't
his
let Eddie
descent
go with
into
him.
the
I
Room
see that the
201
Noodle
is
really like
almost
took
as
a page
silent
from
as the
Invincible's
hill.
like introductions to just cut off like the middle of the sentence to just present the next part.
Oh. I got a gun. It goes pow. Pyramid Head leaves, and you head on through this rather strange red door.
Even
that
worse than that
transports
is
you
just
to the other world.
It's
The
just like that
upside
goddamn
down of
moment
the
where you're
upside
leaving
down.
like the
Allow me
rooftop
to
room
elaborate on
and
what
then
that is. See,
Pyramid Head
Silent
is
Hill,
just
the
there.
town, is simply a fictional town set in the state of Maine. It is of course affected by some kind of curse, and the first layer of that curse is known as the fog world. It's basically a direct parallel to the actual real world and immerses people into it probably without them realizing, both because the layout of the geography and everything is basically identical, kind of like the upside down in Stranger Things, but
Exactly,
also
I was
because
about
it
to say
seems
that
to be
too.
like a dreamlike dimension that deludes the mind, similar to how Silent Hill draws people into it in the first place. We've basically been in the fog world since we arrived in town, but that's where the other world comes in. Going even deeper than this first layer is a second
Also,
layer of
one thing that I have to say about the way that Silent Hill messes with me is just like the ways that they just try to teach you one time and then you just gotta remember for the rest of the game. So you do things or you need to discover things. Because the moment that I got into like the other world, I was so lost for so long because I just couldn't like find the correct place to destroy because I didn't know you had to destroy a wall. It took way more time from my life than I'm proud to admit.
sorts, the other world. This dimension is still somewhat similar to the layout of the real and fog world, but with noticeable distortions. Rusted, decrepit walls, an endless night sky, and the worst monsters you could imagine. These are the things that characterize the other world, and James, having just walked over that gap, entered it. The first other world is basically a similar layout to the actual apartment complex that you just played through, but with an entirely different overarching puzzle. It's in this other world that you run into Angela once again.
Wait. Purple says, yeah, that was pretty fun, not gonna lie. Funny, I was the one losing the brain cells, like trying to find like the correct way to get out, just to notice that I was the big idiot that was just been running around for 30 minutes, not knowing that I had to break a wall. It could have been funny for you, but for me it was like so shameful. Which maybe truly makes it like truly funny. Okay, I'll give you that.
And it starts to become a little clearer what kind of trauma she's dealing with.
Look, I'm not sure what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really? What's the point?
Funny enough, my first ever contact with like any
It's
scene from
easier
Silent
just
Hill
to run.
was from the creator That's Bullshit.
Maybe it's all we deserve.
Because he did a little like animation segment for his Idiot box that used the audio from like Silent Hill.
You.
And I know that because of the background music.
We're all the same.
And once I realized that, I was truly mind blown. Hey Disco, welcome to the stream.
Are you afraid? Sorry.
Really,
It's okay.
he just gotta go with like the crazy chicks and not like
person that
the
you were
dude who's
looking for?
actually with his mind in the right place
Not yet.
about like walking as a group.
Her name's Mary. She's my wife.
Dude, she really just seems to be out of her mind.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I don't know why I think she's here. She died 3 years ago.
She's dead?
Oh, don't worry, I'm not crazy. At least
Sounds
I
a little
don't
bit
think so.
crazy. A little bit crazy, yes.
We have to find my mama.
Should I go with you? This town really is dangerous.
And as
I know
soon
what
as
you
he
meant
sees
back
a
there in the
girl,
cemetery.
No,
he
it's
goes,
okay.
"Oh, you want me to go with you?" But once the dude just
Besides,
goes,
I'd
"Nah,
just slow
I'm
you
actually I prefer to go alone."
What about
Oh, James,
that?
you simp.
Alright. Will you hold it for me?
I still wonder if there's like
No
a
problem.
way for you to just hand that knife back to her at one point. You
If
know,
I kept
I
it,
don't remember.
I'm not
I don't
sure
think
what
so.
I might do. No!
She's just that crazy.
Sorry. I've been bad. Please.
This is the
don't.
person that you just offered to go along straight away. This is the person that you go offer to go along with, like from the start.
Angela's clearly struggling with probably a lot of conditions caused or made worse by abuse by her father and brother in her past. She likely sought comfort in her mother during those horrible times, which is why she's trying to find her mama now. Angela gives you a knife as a kind of compulsive behavior in response to the idea she might hurt herself with it. This otherworld section culminates in a true one-on-one encounter with Pyramid Head, but ultimately you ward him off and he just kind of leaves. Sometimes that's how it is to fight with your inner demons. They're there one moment and then other important matters come up and they just leave. But like
Ah,
most of the things that
I
plague
never-
our minds, like intrusive thought,
Okay, I never really thought about this. I never thought about this way. That Pyramid Head, since he's like manifestation of our demons, according to Noodle, sometimes there's nothing we can truly do to just fight him like ourselves. You know, we just needed to resist his effects. We just needed to persist, and then let him like just go away naturally. It can take a long time, but dude, that is deep. Nice.
Pyramid Head will be back to prey on James for the next time that he's most vulnerable. After escaping the other world and once again embracing the fog, James runs into the little girl. But this time, Laura actually talks to him for a minute.
Honestly, I really just throughout my whole gameplay, I just wanted to send like this little girl to an orphanage. She pissed me off so much with all her like her mischiefs. The way that she locked us like into the hospital, the way that she just kept running away and we just want to keep following her. Damn it, dude.
And before running
was
off,
really
she
annoying.
bursts out at James saying that he didn't love Mary anyways. This marks the point where Laura effectively becomes James's means to finding Mary, because as far as he's found so far, Laura's the only other one in the town that even knows who Mary was. Confused and concerned, he searches for Laura, stumbling through Rosewater
okay,
Park
Fallen.
before coming upon a
Today,
lakeside gazebo
I'm watching this
with a
video
woman
so I can
standing against
finally
the railing.
understand
With
the
pink
lore
highlights
for
and a cute
Silent Hill
butterfly
2
tattoo in
remake.
clear view. Maria is a parallel to Mary. She's a delusion created by the town's curse, James's fragile mind, or both. Acting as a kind of what-if version of Mary, one that's more spicy, exciting, or dominant than his late wife, Maria is likely the embodiment of an ever-pressing intrusive thought of what he wishes his wife could have been, instead of the sick woman that she became. Maria stands to
Dude, I'm not gonna give spoilers about how this goes, but the way, which it actually can be a little bit contradictory since I'm actually watching the full explanation of Silent Hill 2. So either way, the way that now Noodle put this into perspective, you know, that she is a what if, a better version of Mary, one that our protagonist actually considered to have wanted, you know, into like Mary's final days. How did I not catch this on during the game? Dude, this is in a way so sad and revolting in a good way, you know? It just makes you think more about like the story. Damn.
further torment him, although he doesn't seem fully cognizant of the fact that she's not real. Nonetheless, James takes her with him as his hallucinated
as I said,
companion, and they travel through more
the
of the town
moment
and
that,
the fog world for
like,
time,
another
with
girl
the
just
odd
offers to go
sarcastic
with him,
interactions.
Whoa.
it just goes.
Hey, why'd you do that?
You fucking thing, bitch. We're in Silent Hill. I can do whatever I want.
You startled me.
Yeah, good. You've been startling me all fucking afternoon.
You trying to blind me, James?
Yeah.
No, he knows. Also, it took
Can you
me
let
a
me
good
in?
10 minutes to realize that I actually had to break the window to jump inside.
After Maria takes you to a strip club, James really is not having any of her shit, and they move on to a movie theater. She stays outside while you head on in, overhearing Eddie and Laura having an adorable conversation. A vulnerable, bullied, and insecure guy having a heart-to-heart with an innocent, guilt-free.
I will say that I was scared as soon as I saw that the kid and Eddie were both together. I thought that the story and their interactions for whatever was coming like for the future of the game was not gonna be good. I was so afraid for Eddie because I actually felt compassion for him in the with his introduction. But at least it's good to know that this was actually a pure interaction. Like
little
now
girl.
that I
A
played the
strange
game.
contrast, but one almost to be expected in a place like this. Ultimately, Laura runs off, and James talks to Eddie, finding him in an even worse state than you last saw him.
We met back at the apartment.
At least this time is not like just
I
accepting
remember.
James into his group now.
What the? He's lapping
Still,
up
like,
what
it's
seems to be
disgusting.
melted strawberry ice cream. And it takes one look at this dude to realize he's cooked. I think he's lost it. It really doesn't get any better for him from here on either.
I feel
Heading
so
out
bad
of the
for
theater,
Eddie.
you and your hallucinated stripper friend run after Laura, arriving at a totally not creepy hospital.
And I have to say, like, since I'm a Eddie supporter for the story, I really like feel so. I felt like so proud of him for standing up to James. Like when he says, "You want to go together," and Eddie's like, "Oh, now you want me to go with you?" No, yeah, no, fuck James on that factor. You should have taken Eddie with you from the start.
Oh, this must be where the nurses are. After heading inside,
Yep.
definitely expected this. Why are their faces blurred out? It's so creepy. You solve more puzzles. Maria takes a nap.
And that scene, that goddamn cutscene is the moment that I had like my biggest heart attack.
You find Laura, then she locks you in a scary room with this fucking thing.
And for that thing right there that dropped from the ceiling, did you know that you can actually like kind of easily defeat it by like just shooting the string on the top of like the ceiling that connects it to the creature? I didn't know that. I just kept shooting the thing itself.
And you wind up in a cursed
I'm
otherworld
stupid.
version of the hospital. Maria tracks you down, gets angry since she probably thinks you've left her to go find edibles. I can't remember. Oh.
James.
Mary! Oh,
Maria.
Maria, I thought. Sorry. Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway? I was almost killed back there. I have never been so scared.
Dude, the
my
gaslighting
whole
that
life.
Maria does. Like,
All you
honestly,
care about is that dead wife of yours.
it sounded like
You
so
couldn't care
big.
less about me, could you?
And then Pyramid Head returns.
Maria, run.
Dude, Maria was actually in front of me this whole run just for the cutscene to end her.
Come on, hurry!
Maybe Disco. Maybe I could after this one. Could you just tell me a little bit about what the video is about, and after the video I'll be able to comment on
Is she
it.
dead?
If you don't mind.
Once you make it out of the hospital,
The way did you just go, let's go! Ah,
no,
dude.
you're not quite out of the thick of it yet because, hey, this is what the other world looks like when you're not in a building. Yeah, this might be the closest fictional representation of what my childhood nightmares look like because goddamn is this horrifying. Nurse after nurse, finger dancer after finger dancer, creeper
That's what
after
they're called?
creeper.
Finger
And
dancer?
finally escape the other world and end up in the fog world once again, but it's a bit dark. And oh hey, Angela.
This place
Hey,
is
Angela.
different from what I remember. I guess things never really stay the same, do they?
I guess not.
Think she's here anymore, James?
Your mom?
Who?
My mama?
Oh, you didn't happen to see a little girl around here, did you,
A little girl?
Angela?
Oh,
You
so why like so that's why
Angela,
she got a
it's
little bit
okay.
triggered. Oh, this makes so
with
much
Angela
sense
clearly
now.
traumatized out of her
Okay.
fucking mind, all you can do is push forward, and you don't have to go very far because a couple feet in front of where the cutscene ended lays a box containing a key and a message addressing you, James, directly, rather creepily. It says that the key is for the old historical society building, and that whoever the writer is, praise the Lord, will have mercy on your soul. Great. Without much else to do, you make a beeline right for the historical
I
society
didn't
building,
remember
a
that,
small little
uh,
museum of sorts for the quaint town, giving much in the way of lore dumps. If you recall from earlier in the video, the historical society had taken the place of the Toluca prison, and you'll find out soon why that connection is rather important. At the back of the building, you find a rather strange staircase, one that goes on for
I was like those
very
paintings,
long time.
those paintings. They really were for me the highlight of like the art that we see in Silent Hill 2. Honestly, it was so creepy, and yet so great. You know, like those were like really
Just keeps
works of
going.
art for the environment.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, the prison is
It
extremely
never
deep.
ends.
That's just a way
Dude.
for the game to unload the previous
How
like
fucking
map
deep?
and
Reaching
to
the
load
bottom
new
of the
one.
stairs,
Don't
James
worry.
finds himself entering a prison.
What the f?
Yep.
I feel like the KK.
How is it buried this deep under the ground? Well, I think it's safe to say this staircase marks your entrance into the other world once again. You fight a couple
Oh, I
monsters
never thought
before
about
finding
this.
your first
Interesting.
square hole that you have no other option but to jump down into.
So this is like the way that you jump like deeper into like your own madness.
It's here that you have another encounter with Eddie, who, well, I'll just let the cutscene speak for itself.
And I remember that someone mentioned that all like these figures, like just like they are James,
Just
like
put
they're
the
James
gun to their
clones or other figures, right? You're not doing
Eddie?
good, right, Eddie?
Oh,
I felt so bad in the prison for
Hi,
having to
James.
just fight Eddie.
What happened here? Who was that?
I don't know. It just came at me.
Okay. So he attacked you, and you shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He made me do it.
Okay, calm down, Eddie. Any idea why he would do that?
I don't know why, but I feel like
I don't know.
every single like a Japanese
Came out of
game
nowhere.
or Japanese original
Tried
game
sneaking
that
up
I've
on me in
seen,
the dark.
every time that there's a fat guy,
heard
he
footsteps, so I
either
turned back
just
and
goes
he was
insane
right
or you
there.
have to fight him either way.
And you could tell that he wanted to hurt you.
I don't understand
I
like
mean,
why James just
the way you
questioned him
looked at
so
me,
much. I know that Eddie's a
I
bit
just had to
crazy,
do it.
but James has been killing creatures like
He
the whole
looked at
day.
I thought you said he came at you.
Yeah, I mean,
But nonetheless, James is
I
right.
could see it in his eyes.
His eyes.
He kept looking at me, making fun of me.
Hmm.
And I told him not to, but He didn't listen.
Eddie, you can't just kill someone because the way they looked at you.
Dude, that face shows that someone's really a gunner.
You should see your face, James. I was just joking. The guy was dead when I got here. I got you, didn't I? Well, anyway, I better get going.
Wait. You're gonna go out there alone?
Yeah.
Eddie is beyond saving. But that's not important right now, because you're in a prison and you've got some shanking
Poor
and
Eddie.
puzzle solving to do. Playing with some lovely little weights on this.
Honestly, this
balancing
video
tool
just
thing. I don't know what
make
it's called
me
again. You eventually make a gallows
care more
appear,
about
which
the, like,
you
the
then
other
must
girl
pull down a
survivor.
new set for whichever
Oh, this
character
part,
is justified in what they did out of 6 cases. You make your choice and
Guys, if you guys remember, like from the stream, I did this puzzle and there was like the 6 like hanging ropes. So I went to the first one that I saw, I think it was the number 1, and I just I thought, okay, let me click on it and let me see what happens. Let me see what is like the cutscene, or like let me see this new piece of the puzzle. No, as soon as I clicked it, I jumped. I did it. I did the thing. I thought it was for me to inspect it. I didn't know that I actually had to select one and I only had like one pick. But for what I read afterwards, it seems that only one of them was gonna be correct. And I got one. I got the correct one. And it was at random. That was kind of crazy.
ow. Anyway, you begin your next ascent into the endless series of f***ing holes, and wow, if this isn't the most uncanny ambience I've ever heard.
Did every single hallway, every time that we jumped, just got to
journeying
worse?
further into the
Oh,
maze
and her
of an
name's Angela.
otherworldly dimension, leading you to meeting probably the most disturbingly visceral enemy you could possibly imagine for a victim of SA. This thing.
Ugh. I remember him.
Fighting through corridors upon corridors, transitioning from walls of
I remember
shredded
there needs to
wallpaper to
be
stretched
a
meat.
representation
You finally
from,
kill the damn thing in one last confrontation,
father
and
and brother,
Angela
right?
throws a TV at him.
Calm down.
Don't order me around!
I'm not. It's okay. It's over.
Don't even try.
Try what?
Like you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're doing. It's always the same with you. You're only after one thing.
Angela, please.
You don't have to lie. Go ahead. Say it. Or you could just force me. Like he always did.
Dude, honestly, like back in the day, these games had no chill when it comes to just touching like on very delicate subjects. I cannot
Both
even
James
imagine
and
a game
Angela
like
have
this
some back and
coming
forth,
out
each
of the
dealing
blue
with their own
nowadays.
denial and conflict before she runs off, and it's time for you to make your way to the labyrinth. You run into Maria, who's alive again. Yay. She's being sussy, and James is generally pretty confused about the whole thing.
Yeah, this was the moment that I just had
find some way
like the confirmation that Maria was not a natural creature.
But moving on, you play through the worst part of the game, these series of horrible, unending mazes.
Oh, dude, that was so annoying. These creatures that kept attaching like into
Until
like
eventually finding Maria
the parts
dead.
was so
Afterwards, you
annoying.
actually find the Pyramid Head sword.
And I think that my game actually bugged the first time that I did it, because when I did like the second door,
And are able
I
to
was
use it
able to drag
part
the
this
sword,
wall
but then
arms
she
to
disappeared
eventually reach what
because I
appears
didn't
to
do
be
the third
3
one.
open
So I think my
graves.
game
One
had
for Angela,
bugged.
one for Eddie, and one for you. Without hesitation, well, you know the drill. Walking down
Okay, we're about like halfway past the video, so I really would like to know what happens if we jump on the other graves. I really hope that he explains all the endings.
a hallway that starts to get really bloody. You have one final
Or maybe I'll have
encounter
to
with
just
your boy,
see
Eddie.
another video
Unfortunately,
another day
there
about it.
really is no saving him.
How many times do I have to kill you?
Eddie? Whoa, Eddie, it's me.
Oh. Hi, James.
Eddie, what are you doing?
Let me check if I have a drink.
What's it look like I'm doing?
Damn it, I'm out of drinks.
You
God
fat,
damn it.
disgusting piece of shit. You make me sick. You gonna cry, fat ass? You gonna run to your mama? Waste of skin. Why don't you just kill yourself? Well, maybe he was right. Maybe I am nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you're dead.
Right,
And a
right.
corpse can't laugh.
Eddie.
What's that? You want to talk down to me some more? Tell me to relax? You're just like the rest of them, James.
No, I don't want.
Shut up! You think I'm stupid. You think I don't see it. But you've been laughing at me all along. Ever since we first met. But you ain't laughing now, are you?
Oof.
You need help, Eddie.
I just wish that that punch
Don't
could
get
have
all
just
holy on
been
me, James.
the way that
This
it would
town
bring
called
back
you
to
too.
senses.
You and me are the same. We're not like other people, don't you know that? Well,
The only difference that James the
you're
player,
about to find out.
so we had the chance to leave.
Eddie had a difficult childhood growing up. He was ridiculed for his weight, made fun of constantly, and even after graduating high school, he was further bullied, leading to him shooting and killing a man's dog while wounding the man himself with a shot to the knee. After being on the run from the crime, Eddie was pulled to Silent Hill, and that's ultimately how he wound up there. As the ultimate manifestation of his
Oh, wait,
painful past and regrets, Eddie goes full paranoia mode.
Wait. So Eddie, he was on the run still. So like while he was running. Wait, so maybe that car that we see, was there 2 or 3 cars as soon as like we start the game outside of like the bathroom stall? Was it, if there was 3 cars, this was like one for each one of them, James, Angela, and Eddie. I never noticed that. But dude, why you gotta shoot at the dog, man?
Accusing James of making fun of him behind his back. When he threatens to shoot you, you whack the gun out of his hand and he kind of runs off into this full-on meat freezer room with hanging corpses to boot. This is where you're forced to fight and kill Eddie.
Yeah,
I feel so
ran
bad
away
for
after
Eddie.
you killed
Dude,
that
that
dog.
was... I was like, I was
you
so
know what?
emotional during this fight.
It
I
was
felt so
fun.
disappointed at Eddie.
It tried to chew its own guts up. Finally died all curled up in a ball. Then he came after me. I shot him too, right in the leg. He cried more than the dog. And now it's your turn,
Monsters are not born, they're created. Okay, I say that is actually pretty funny the way that the animation just goes crazy with the model.
After you mag dump Eddie, at long last, you escape the other world, for now, and find yourself at the edge of the lake. Hopping onto a little boat, you row out into the fog, eventually reaching
I'm surprised that we
Lakeview
did not
Hotel.
touch on like the full story about the
This
lady of
happens
the
to be a
island.
place that James and Mary actually stayed at during one of their visits to the town years back, and so James actually recognizes the spot almost right away. The hotel is pretty beautiful, with an incredible garden and a nice interior, albeit it's rather run down all things considered, but it's going to visually get worse over time as you uncover the truth. See, Lakeview is all about
Oh, the way that
self-reflection at the
everything
end of
kind
the
of
day.
changes
This is
to a
fitting
yellow
theme,
close to
considering
the end of
effectively
the
last
of
major
the
level
game,
in
you
the
know?
More than any of the previous areas you have to
Kind of a
fight,
crazy
solve,
change.
and traverse your way through, Lakeview Hotel makes James question himself through more puzzles, signs of some horribly buried past, and at times pretty challenging sections. Before you begin, though, you
I
find
hate to
Laura.
like the basement challenge on the hotel. And I hate that moment where she just plays a piano
Did I
to scare
scare you?
us. Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did.
At that moment, I was certain that I was gonna send you to an
I
orphanage.
guess I deserved it, huh? The fart face that I am.
Maybe. Then again, maybe you're not so bad. Just annoying.
Uh-huh. So,
Also, he didn't mention the dog went to the hospital.
you got any other things planned? I think I saw a dark room back there you could lock me up in.
No. I think you've had enough. For now.
Well, that's reassuring.
Besides, I need your help finding Mary.
I wish I knew.
But she said it in her letter.
Wait. So there really is a letter?
Oh. Yeah.
The letter she was holding.
Want to read it? Just don't tell Rachel, okay?
Who's Rachel?
She's our nurse.
Yeah, there it is.
Took it from her locker.
My dearest Laura, I'm leaving this letter with Rachel to give to you after I'm gone. I'm far away now, in a quiet, beautiful place.
Once again, the narration
Please
for
forgive
Mary
me for not saying
and
goodbye
the
before I
music
left.
that is played in the background, they were
Be
just so
well,
amazing, like put
Laura.
together, you know?
Don't be too hard on the sisters. And Laura, about James. I know you hate him because you think he isn't nice to me, but please, give him a chance.
Oh, now I
It's true,
realize
he
like
can
the
be a
way
little
that
surly sometimes.
even early in the
And he
game,
doesn't laugh much.
or a little bit close to the
But
end, Mary
underneath,
already
he's a
hints
really
that
sweet
even
person.
though James was so tired and
I love
angry
you,
because she
Laura.
was dying,
I love you like
she
my
still
very
like
own daughter.
forgave him, you know, like, and
wish
was
things were
trying to
different.
say that he was a good man.
I wish
Damn,
we could
that
be happy
hurts.
together, like we talked about.
That is so sad.
Even so,
These are the
I
type
know
of
you
things
will
that you
have a
only
good
like
life.
notice when someone actually
you're strong,
explains it to you.
smart, beautiful girl. Happy 8th birthday, Laura. Your friend, Mary.
How old are you?
I turned 8 last week.
That means Mary couldn't have died 3 years ago. Is this the quiet, beautiful place she was talking about?
Me and Mary talked a lot about Silent Hill. She even showed me all her pictures. She really wanted to come back. She also talked a lot about you, you know? It kind of was his other letter. I think the one was for you. The envelope had your name on it. Mary wouldn't want me to keep it from you, so I just sort of kept it for you. Here.
And this was the moment there was only the envelope, right? It was empty.
It's empty. Laura, there's nothing in it.
What? But I didn't take it. I swear.
Well, where is it then?
I must have lost it. I gotta find it.
Laura!
It all comes back to that letter. Your goal here is to find that letter, but not exactly just for the sake
You
of
know,
finding a piece of paper.
well,
You're trying
when
to
I
find
finished the
truth.
game-
Some sections here are pretty tough, and I'm not just
Yeah, that's
talking
actually
about
very
how many times
annoying
my
on the
game crashed.
basement.
There's this one part where you have to leave all your stuff behind in order to use an elevator that takes you to a basement.
So you
where these
actually had
enemies
to
have
leave
free
the
reign to
items, so
basically
it
queue
would
up,
only
and
work
you just need to run and hide.
if you
This
left the
shit
items.
reminded
Okay,
me of
okay, I need to say, when I left my items into that locker, I thought it was because something was gonna happen. And when I did the basement segment without any guns or anything, I felt so stupid thinking, did I really just leave everything that I had for nothing? But at least now I know that I needed to leave them. I feel a little bit less idiot now. But as I was saying before, when I finished the game, I really felt like the game at the end had been a little bit like Resident Evil 4, because I've played it on the channel as well for the first time a long time ago. And for my first time playing it, it felt like by the end of the game it stretched a little bit more. You know, it felt like it was just stretching more for the sake of like creating a new level, but I felt like it was a little bit unnecessary. But watching this video, I think I will take it back. You know, with this much more story now being more comprehensible for me, it really feels well put, honestly.
Soma, honestly, which is a horror game where you similarly can't really.
And
fight
also,
back.
guys, never
But
be
after you
afraid to
overcome that
change your
section and
opinions
the
with
rest,
time. You know,
finally
when you're
find this
presented with the
videotape
new
that Marina
information
was
and
alluding
new
to earlier,
things.
a videotape that's about to
Right?
reveal everything. The
The real shame
or
would
some
be to
twisted version
not
of it. What we
like
see and what happens
try
next all
to
depends on
change
your actions
overall.
in the game leading up to this point, which is
Do
why
not
it's important
admit
to
that
finally
you're
talk
wrong.
about the endings. But before we can, let's conclude Angela's story, since her final cutscene is revealed revealed around this time, regardless of which ending you end up getting to James's story. In some otherworld dimension, you find Angela in a burning room at the bottom of a staircase. And I'd like you to just watch this one in its entirety before we break it down.
There's like a me leaving my room to to like outside nowadays. It's so hot nowadays.
Mama,
It's so hot all the time.
I was looking for you. You're the only one left. Maybe then I can finally rest. Mama. What's wrong? Wait,
Yeah, she realizes.
you're not my mama. It's...
Imagine like if you could actually alter like the model for James to actually put like an old lady and it's actually her mom and then there's the happy ending.
I'm sorry, Angela. I think you were right. What we're looking for, it's not here. Not anymore.
Thank you for helping me earlier. But I wish you hadn't. Even Mama said it. I deserve what happened.
No, Angela, that is not true.
Don't pity me. I'm not worth it. Or maybe you think you can save me? Will you love me? Care for me?
It's so sad in these like scenes
Heal all my pain?
that show like characters that have been going through like some abuse in their
That's what I
childhood
thought.
that they just end up like so broken. It's a horrible like and sad
James.
reality.
Give me back the knife.
No, I won't.
Saving it for yourself.
That's like what I really want to know. Is there a way to actually give her a knife to her again? Like if
Have
we
it your
jump into
way.
her grave, do we give the knife to her and then we follow
Doesn't
her
change
path?
anything.
It's hot as hell in here.
You see it too?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's always like this.
What makes this scene so real is how, at the end of the day, you can't save people from themselves. Their problems internally, whether from the way they were born or environmental things, stuff just out of their control that happened to them. None of this is something that James or even that the most intelligent person in the world could save them from. If it wasn't clear by now, Angela was clearly sexually assaulted by her brother and father when she was a little girl, and her mother seemed to know and do nothing about it. Symbolic of how, even after searching for all this time in Silent Hill for her mama, she never found her. Her parents were never there for her. One outright abused her directly, and the other abused her.
Oh,
to
this
neglect.
hurts.
This is unfortunately all too common. And Angela's story in the game represents the reality that friends, strangers, hell, even lovers will never be able to heal the trauma that something like that can cause for someone. It's something they have to come to terms with on their own. That fire is their own too. And whether Angela dies here, we'll never really know. But with Angela's ending concluded, we can now cover James's endings. So allow me to introduce...
Okay,
are
there
8
we go,
endings
the
in
8 endings.
total,
Let's
fitting for
go.
8 parts, I know. There's
Let's
2
go. We're
endings
actually gonna
exclusive
get
to the
some
remake,
lore for
so
this.
let's
Thank
start
God.
with the original 6 before we cover those. Considering the seriousness of the source material, I'm going to explain the 2 joke endings first, just to get those out of the way. In the UFO ending, James walks outside with an item called the Channeling Stone as he sees some lights come down from the sky that eventually blind the shit out of him. And the game turns into a silent film as we see PlayStation 2 James walk towards modern James. This
What?
Space James
Really?
claims to be the real version and that the remake one is just a clone, before an alien blasts his back and knocks him out. What did I just watch? In the dog ending, after James unlocks some door with the dog key, he walks into a terminal room with the Shiba Inu in the chair, operating the terminal. Turns out that in this ending, this dog is known as Mira, and it was behind the entire story of Silent Hill, pulling all the strings. James,
I've heard
now
about the dog
speaking in
ending.
fucking Japanese for some reason, falls to his knees as Mira jumps down from her chair and starts licking him. As the credits roll, we get this Undertale-sounding ass dog music, but at least it somehow makes more sense than the UFO ending.
That's
Now for the
funny.
actual true endings of the game. The videotape
Right, let's
in
go.
most of them reminds James of something that the game had been alluding to all this time. James Sunderland killed his wife. With everything leading up to it, this should surprise you. But how he deals with that fact is different depending on the ending you get. Determined by all kinds of key items you can find and choices you make throughout the game, it's revealed that
I didn't know that he actually killed her. I thought it was the disease that she had. I didn't remember that he killed her.
James killed Mary from frustration of wanting his life back, but whether or not that's the answer by itself depends on what you see next. In the Rebirth ending, James finds Mary after watching the videotape, but he calls her bluff and knows it's actually Maria. After fighting her, we see James rowing a boat across Toluca Lake, trying to presumably find the old god that the Order cult had worshipped and resurrect Mary with it. James seems a bit batshit insane during this cutscene, and while it never shows if he succeeds or not, it can be assumed that due to the themes of the Silent Hill games, that the fact that he never moved on from Mary would suggest this doesn't end well. Eddie never moved on, and well, you can see what happened to him. So this similar fate for James would make sense. The Maria ending shows Mary and James talking about the past, and how James, instead of moving on, has latched onto Maria. After this boss fight concludes, it shows James waking Maria up. They then head to his car from the beginning of the game, and Maria starts to cough. This might be symbolic of the fact that even in this kind of delusion, Maria can never escape what Mary would become with her illness. The ending that I got in my first playthrough, in water, is possibly the most depressing. After the normal fight, we see James in his car as he talks about how he can't forgive himself for what he did and accepts while Mary wouldn't want him to do what he's about to do, it doesn't matter anymore because she's gone. We get a small glimpse of her corpse in the back seat before James steps on the gas and drives his car into the lake. During the note from Mary, she states at the end that she understood why he started to hate her and how she wants James to live on even after she's gone. For himself,
How did it
and
just
the
get
ones
to
still
this
alive around
ending?
him. This is a sad
I thought that the
conclusion
ending
about a
that I
man
got
so
was like the
desperate
most
for
common
retribution
one.
for his own sins that he took it upon himself to deliver this kind of punishment. In the Leave ending, we get a glimpse of Mary, bedridden due to her illness, and
This is
James
the one
sitting
that I-
next to her.
yeah,
This
that I got,
doesn't
I
seem to be a
think.
flashback though, since it's presumably the spirit of Mary talking to him in a recreation of her room during her last moments. Mary reaffirms to James that she wanted the pain to end, but James claims that he did it out of hatred and that he wanted his life back. But Mary responds with this.
If that's true, then why do you look so sad?
Dude, this game just became even more depressing, honestly.
Mary.
It's okay, James.
So that likely confirms that James did still love Mary till the end and simply wanted her to not suffer anymore. Though due to the 3 years of anger, he used that anger as an excuse to finally end her pain. As James seems to be the person to always hate himself, he kept on with thinking he killed her out of pure hatred. At the end of their last conversation, Mary hands him her last letter and the screen fades to black. Fades back in with Laura as we see James walking to her and giving her Mary's last note. Mary's voice reads through the letter, concluding with her telling James to live on for himself and the people around him, while James and Laura walk out of the graveyard, finally leaving Silent Hill.
Dude, how did I just got this ending? There were so many other bad endings. How did I just got the best one? It was my
Those
first
were
time
all the
playing.
original endings they kept in the remake, but it also introduced 2 new ones. The Bliss ending involves James drinking something called White Claudio, which is made from a native flower found near Toluca Lake and has hallucinogenic supernatural properties that in the past the town actually started to refine into PTV, a drug that created this whole market. Anyway, at the end point of the game, when he puts the tape into the VHS, instead of getting the tape that jogs his memory of him murdering his wife, we see a tape of Mary and James embracing, appearing as a loving couple.
Come on, we need to finish packing.
And the last shot reveals that James isn't here anymore. This ending is by far the most ambiguous, but a theory that's possible is due to the properties of White Claudia. When James puts in the tape, he sees what he wants to see, something that'll give him bliss. Maybe then he literally transferred himself into this blissful reality, as seen with James just disappearing without anything else to follow it. Your answer is as good as mine with this one. Now for the last ending, Stillness. This one is more or less the same as the In Water ending, though with him talking to a hallucination of Mary in this one instead of just himself. He really lets loose here.
I am so sorry.
It's okay.
Will you wait for me?
James,
To kill someone, then say, "Will you wait for me?"
I've always been waiting for you.
And then it's the same thing that he goes in the lake, right? And he never opened the letter, right?
Whether James dies here, like the In Water ending, really isn't clear. There's a chance that maybe he jumped out of the car before it drove into the lake. There's also a chance that it's just the same fate. But what do you think? Of all the endings, which one is your favorite? And if you played the original,
Honestly, I feel
how do
like
you
the one
interpret
that
these
I
newly added
got
endings?
is just the best one.
Silent Hill 2 is a sad game. Yes, I'm stating the obvious here. And my god, if Luke Roberts isn't nominated for some kind of goddamn award for this, I will personally slap Jeff Keighley harder than Will Smith slapped Chris Rock in Minecraft, of course. But really, Silent Hill 2 has been an incredible game
Hey,
to
fellas,
cover,
welcome to the
especially in
stream.
2024. I said it at the beginning of the video, and I'll say it again. As the Gen Z that I am, I feel really lucky to be able to experience this story in such great detail so many years after it was made. There's a certain immersion into a distant past era of
Yeah,
video
they will
games that
say.
I really felt
I don't know
playing
how,
through
but
this
I
game.
got
It's
the
something that I
best
rarely
ending
get to have.
possible.
So for that, I think it's safe to
Maybe
say
I
that
just
myself
collected
and a
all
lot
the
of
right
other players
items, I
really
don't know.
appreciate what the developers of Bloober Team pulled off here. It's just incredible.
But I'm still curious of what happens if you just jump into like the grave of
But have
Eddie
you played the
or
remake? What do you
Angela.
think about it overall? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, subscribe for more. And as always, remember,
Stay out of
Pyramid
the
Guy has
fog.
a fat ass.
Hey, what's up, bitch?
Okay, just before that, to answer like a Noodles question, I played it for the first time not too long ago. Silent Hill 2 Remake was my first experience into the Silent Hill universe, and for my first time playing, I was really taken by the story in many points. In other points and interactions, I in a way didn't took it so seriously. I memed a lot about some of the characters. I cared about some characters more than others. As I said, I think I care more about Eddie, like for the majority of the story, than I care for Angela. But still, like just being able to see this whole thing right now, this whole video explaining truly what happened, it really just makes me care more about the game. Thank you, Noodle. Thank you for the video. As I said before, I hope you don't mind reaction channels, and I hope you don't mind that I reacted this on a live stream, but it was just for safeguard, so I could just keep the reaction safe and uncorrupted if something happened. So, thank you. And if you guys are watching on YouTube after I release this, please be sure to go to the original video and give it a like. I'll see you guys later, and if you don't mind, I think I'm about to go play some TF2. Bye. See ya. Have you considered becoming a patron or a member of the channel? Links down below.